Hello, everybody, and welcome to Button Mash, Ball State University's premier video game show. I'm your host, Lucas Schmidt, and with me, as always, is Joseph Noop. How's it going, Joe?
Woo, I'm wet.
What? Okay,
I'm
there was a
soaked. It's
thunderstorm.
death outside.
College campus people have perverted minds. You need to not let any of that. Leave no room for insinuation.
I anticipated that reaction. You should feel terrible. Why are you even... No. So, how are you?
Good. Built my PC, and it's up and running, finally. I got, of course, run into, little problems here and there, which sucks. But it's so satisfying, because when you play it, you're just like, wow, I put this all together. I didn't just go to GameStop and pay a couple $100, and they just hand me a box, and it worked out of the box. Box in a box. But, yeah, boxception.
That is essentially... You're now the hipster amongst us.
Shut up. No, I'm not.
Okay.
See, I don't even know what constitutes as hipster and what doesn't. I've been told I'm hipster-ish, but then other people are like, you're not. What are you talking about? And I'm confused. All I really know is that they apparently hate everything, and their music.
This is true.
Is,
I'm filled with hate
that nobody else listens to. But, some of my favorite bands, nobody really does listen to. But then some of my other favorite bands, everybody listens to. So
Imagine Dragons, I hear at the gym every single day.
Yes, and I
sometimes
love
twice.
Imagine Dragons. I feel like hipsters would hate them because they're popular. And they're just, anti-mainstream for the sake of anti-mainstreaminess.
All right, we've got a great show today. Kind of the final couple weeks leading up to the big ol' releases of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So the news you might think is going to be slow and boring, but heck nah, man. Heck nah.
No. There's always something to talk about in the video game world. PS4 lately, some stuff's been coming out that's been kind of upsetting. Like how they can't play CDs and MP3 playbacks. At least not at launch. They could come out with a patch for it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to get upset about because... Honestly, when was the last time you or I would ever have used our PlayStation to be like, I want to play some MP3s right now, yeah,
True,
and broadcast them from my television.
But when I was younger and all I had was my video game system, I didn't have a computer or anything.
Really?
That is what I use for music. And I am upset, actually. I'm not gonna lie that the what's it called? The background screen, the colored lights and everything that changes with the music and stuff. I love that. That was always just
is that not back in
to watch? Nope, that's not going to be there either. And I love how their suggestion too to the news is you should subscribe to Music Unlimited, which is their subscription service.
That's basically what it's all about. Yeah, they're not including MP3 functionality because they want their little app services to be used. And it's not a business strategy that I'm particularly about, but it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of gotten down to that. And when it comes to the console wars, everybody's very nitpicky. It's all these little things. So the PlayStation 4 also can't be it can't connect to your home network like your other computers on your home network. So you can't bring files from your PC over to your PlayStation 4 like you used to be able with your PS3. You could bring videos, music, pictures, yada, 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 all that media, but you can't do that anymore. Well, speaking of PlayStation 4 and stuff that's available on it, Sony has released the entire just the launch lineup. First-party titles include Flower, which is a great little DLC game. I didn't really know that was coming out for it. Killzone Shadowfall, already on the streets. The developer never set a street release date. It's already available at GameStop. You can go pick it up right now. That's really weird. They never put down a street date, so GameStop and everyone else is like, hey guys, can we just go for it? And it's available right now, 2-3 weeks before the consoles.
So people
here.
will go ahead and buy it, and then they'll just take it home and just sit on it and keep it warm.
Some wide-eyed kid is like, oh, I didn't know this. Can I buy this? Yeah, sure, kid. Where's the consoles now? What? What do you mean? The consoles. Oh, I'm sorry, son. You should probably come back
later.
Like
getting the keys to the car 3 weeks before you get the car itself. It's
Here,
just
son. Oh, thank you, Dad. Thank you.
That's what I did when I built my PC. I bought because the Steam summer sale, everything's $4 as compared to $30 like it normally would be, and so I went crazy and bought all these games, but I couldn't play any of them because I just have my dinky little laptop. and they would just sit there. I'm like, oh, I could play The Witcher 2. I could play XCOM. I could play Left 4 Dead 2. But nope.
No. Also on the list of games is Knack, the first party title you play. It's like a much more cartoony action platformer kind of deal. Not really getting great press right now. They have Resogun, I don't even know what that is, and Sound Shapes. I don't even know.
Are these
that.
a bunch of indie titles?
No, the indie titles are Contrast by Compulsion Games, Pinball Arcade, Super Motherload, and Tiny Brains and Warframe. All pretty niche titles. There's also third-party titles that are coming. One can assume that they're
Warframe's coming out at launch.
Yes.
Okay. Oh no. Okay. I was trying to think. I'm like, that's not correct. They just announced a delay, but the delay was for PlanetSide 2. That's coming out early next year for PlayStation 4.
And
cool.
the third-party
I like Warframe though. Warframe is fun.
What? Yeah. You'll have to tell me about Warframe later.
It's a third-person free-to-play action shooter of sorts.
Okay.
There's kind of different classes and stuff. I haven't played a whole lot of it, but I have liked it from what I've played so far.
Okay.
I have about 2 hours in it.
And also at launch, we're going to get Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghost, Assassin's Creed 4, DC Universe Online, although if you want to be able to play that, you're pretty much going to have to fork over the money for PlayStation Plus, obviously. Injustice Gods Among Us, the Ultimate Edition, that's the DC Universe fighting game. Just Dance 2014, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden NFL 25. I love how they've just given up on the years now. NBA 2K14.
Well, no, and that's not. The 25 is for the anniversary because it's like the 25th anniversary of the Madden series or something.
I don't even care.
But it'll be funny when we get to the year 2025. I don't know what they're gonna do then. They'll be like, "Oh, guys, we totally didn't think about this all those years ago. Wow. All right, what do we do? Like, oh, just not make one this year. That'll never happen.
So
EA goes under.
So with Watch Dogs being delayed, this is honestly a pretty weak lineup.
Because that was one of the biggest ones.
That was
I know for a fact that was a lot of people's top title they were wanting to get. And if it wasn't the top, then it was it was a contender for it.
I'm sad to see it delayed, but in a way I'm also glad to, because the game looked like it needed a little work, in my opinion. I was starting to think back to how Assassin's Creed 3 just burnt me really hard, because when you looked at all the promo material, it looks like a grand epic game with lots of stuff to do, and you play it, and it was just not as fulfilling as I'd hoped.
Wait,
Assassin's Creed 3?
Oh, I was spaced out there for a second. I thought you were talking about Watch Dogs. I'm like, whoa.
I wish I played Watch Dogs.
When did you get your hands on Watch Dogs?
But getting the impression from that game, and that this is Ubisoft's next, after AC4, but I am pretty excited for Killzone Shadowfall, though. As typical as it is to have a big first-person shooter on every single launch lineup known to man, the game looks a lot more impressive than any of the Killzones before. They seem to be going with it's still not like the greatest story I could imagine, but the fact that it's more of like a Cold War, the Vectans versus the Helghan, like they have the Cold War-esque wall built between them, and you're like an infiltrator agent. I like that, and I like the sort of lone wolf aspect of it.
There should be an Easter egg where your character just continually screams, "Mr. Gorbachev, bring down that wall."
Except with like the Helghan voice, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall." It's like, okay, dude. Okay.
Does it sound like Bane? That's what it sounds like you're trying to. Because I'm not familiar with Killzone at all.
A lot of the Killzone characters all wear masks, and
it's just a bunch of Banes with guns.
Yeah, that's more or less.
That's terrifying.
They're not super huge. They're like regular sized dudes, but they all have the beady red eyes because they're wearing the mask. Like the lore is that their planet's filled with smoke and everything, so everybody has to wear these masks. But
let me guess, they attack humanity for its resources.
I forgot. Who cares about the story in the previous games?
It's a first-person shooter's story. Who cares?
And Knack sounds okay. I've not heard a lot of good things about it, especially from the journalism community. Anyone who's played it has said, yeah, it's just not grabbing me.
That's the platformer?
Yeah. Knack, you play as like this sentient kind of robot who can grow or make himself smaller by like absorbing kind of like Katamari Damacy, like absorbing just random junk around, and it gives him special abilities, and it looks okay. but I'm not too excited. And yeah, all the third-party titles that are coming out, it's not going to make much of a difference considering you'll be able to get them on Xbox One exactly a week later.
Yeah, it's always that exclusivity stuff. It's always a big deal. Well, going on to something new, Steam today, or not today, a couple days ago. Was it Wednesday? No, it was Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday. It was their 10th anniversary. 10 years that Steam's been up and running, and it has grown a lot. They now have 65 million accounts. 6 million simultaneous users are on Steam, like at the peak of its trafficking every day. And most of them play Dota 2, which is that MOBA title. I haven't gotten to play that yet, but a lot of them have come in the last year. It's grown 30%.
I'm one of them.
Last year alone, yeah.
Maybe not the last year, but like the last 2 years. What are the numbers for the Xbox and the PlayStation? Because I think the PlayStation might have been more or neck and neck at least.
I couldn't tell you. I would imagine that Xbox Live has more than PlayStation, even though PlayStation is free. I kind of want to say.
Actually, I think you might be wrong there because I'm looking at a story right now, or if it will.
I just feel like a lot of people tend to gravitate. People who play online games tend to gravitate more towards the Xbox than the PlayStation, just because of its.
Microsoft Xbox Live has 48 million accounts, half of whom pay for the gold, and Sony's PlayStation Network claims 110 million. That's why I was like, wait, the numbers. That's because Sony's been offering PSN for free. It's ridiculously easy to get in there and just start playing. Whereas, I broke college student. I ain't forking over $60 for some things that I'll never play.
Yeah, it hurts.
All right. Speaking of online stuff, actually no. Let's go back to that. What do you think are the implications for Steam? Because they're coming out with the Steam box, the Steam OS, and everything. This is going to be...
I mean, yeah, the last year, along with all the people they've gotten, you've seen them bring in a lot of things. They brought in Greenlight, which is basically where developers will propose their games of sorts. They'll kind of show them off a little bit, some videos, some clips and stuff, and then the community will vote on them.
Yeah.
And if the game gets greenlit, then the developers will be funded to continue making the game. And as a result, it'll come out. And it kind of slightly puts development into the hands of it gives more consumer power, basically. Mm-hmm. It's really more than just.
What do you think? What do you think are the implications, though?
It's buying with your votes as well.
What do you think are the implications, though, for the coming into the marketplace with Steambox? I think this is they've eclipsed Xbox Live. Xbox, who when you talk to most gamers are like, oh yeah, the Xbox service is like the best, and it's like, well, if you do the numbers, it's not the most popular. I think that
Xbox Steam is definitely a better service than Xbox. Mm-hmm. I believe. I mean, first off, you don't have to pay for it, but PlayStation Network you also don't have to pay for it. But Steam is just what's the word? I don't know, just more
user intuitive.
It's a larger scope.
Yeah,
user intuitive as well. The store is fantastic. The sales are literally uncomparable. You just can't argue with it. They are ridiculous. You'll find games for 75% off, and it'll be like $250.
Dem sales.
They're having a Halloween sale right now. I think it's ending today. I'm pretty sure. Actually.
Oh no, I need to check that out.
Now, right now we're in the middle of the show, but no, I bought Limbo for $250. It's a $15 game. I bought for $2.50.
Isn't that crazy that
incredible.
even though games like that are coming out, people still will be like, I don't know, should I pay $2.50 for Steam? It's like less than the price of a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And it will give you like at least an hour of. It will change you for an hour.
It's like, do I want to play this one game that I hear is pretty sweet, or do I want to go down the road and get 2 McChickens? And then my decision usually is to just do both. I usually go get the McChickens while the game is downloading.
All right. Speaking of other online stuff, kind of a weird non-news story. Ubisoft has they were going to have a quote passport fee for Assassin's Creed 4.
An online pass for not online stuff.
Yes, for the single player campaign, locking out some content. Like I believe it was like the ship-based stuff. Like
that's a new level of douchiness. That's even worse than like on disc DLC.
But then it turns out because of all this public backlash, they're taking it out. Every copy of Assassin's Creed 4 will include the Uplay passport needed to unlock online features. This ensures everyone will be able to use the companion app, which is, allows you to like manage your fleet of ships, which you can collect in the game. And yeah, I mean, good on Ubisoft for at least listening to us, but suck it for for doing it in the first place.
And they're like, maybe we can get away with this. Maybe not enough people get upset, and a few people will be suckered into buying it, and they'll make some more money. But yeah, just goes to show that if everyone gets pissed off enough and takes the internet, that companies will actually change. I mean, we saw with Microsoft after E3, there's so much bad publicity from their thing. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was literally like unanimous in every single comment thread of every article on every site. Every YouTube video was just people voicing that PlayStation destroyed Xbox in those like couple days of the conference.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take a quick break here, guys. We'll play a little ditty for you, and we'll be back with a little more news. And Lucas, guess what?
A review.
I am the knight. Welcome back to Button Mash on WCRD. Woo! All right, more news for yous. Starting up, we have...
Clever.
What?
Clever. News for yous. I like it.
Yay. So, Call of Duty Ghosts coming out soon. Actually, wait. No. Soon?
It is.
It is.
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, this Tuesday is coming out. Man, that was quick. And for those of you who may pay attention to the interwebs, they announced with a trailer to accompany it a new mode for multiplayer sort of co-op campaign thing. Call of Duty Ghosts Alien Hunting Extinction. It is essentially zombies mode, and I don't care.
Yeah. I actually didn't see much on it. I mean, I saw a little bit.
Did you see the trailer?
Yeah.
It looks...
I don't know like the details of it because they didn't really explain any of that.
Yeah.
It looked like this is an actual like winnable one because Nazi zombies was always like you just survive as many ways.
They started adding in like a story element where like you could sort of finish or win. I think in Black Ops 2, but yeah, this seems, for anyone who's seen the trailer, honestly I don't know. I really think that was probably running on like the Xbox 360 or PS3 hardware and not next gen stuff because it didn't look very good and it just nothing grabbed. And I think Lucas I think there's a reason why we don't know so much about it, like how it plays and why they're only announcing it like less than a week before they announce.
Yeah.
Because
well, then again, I guess it's appropriate Halloween, and it'll generate some extra publicity the week before.
Yeah, but they didn't say a single thing about it other than look, aliens, and I think that's because they know that it's a team of under 30 people were like, okay, let's throw this in together, and it's a tick on a box,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Can't really say till I get my hands on it. I love cooperative things, though. Cooperative with just a bunch of you and your friends against a bunch of AI opponents. That's really fun to me, and I feel like there aren't enough of that in games. And when there are, they're very dull. They'll be just... And it looks like this is kind of the same deal, where it's kind of like you just stay at the same spot and just fight as the enemies come to you. I prefer ones where like you move through like the environment and like the scenery's constantly changing. You're going from one point to another.
It looks like
stay in the same corner of the map for like 20 minutes. It gets boring.
It looks like it will be a little different than the typical zombie mode that at least that COD's been doing for a couple years now. Players will be able to pick between 4 classes: tank, weapon specialist, medic, or engineer, and they'll all have special abilities like med kits, portable turrets. You can obviously level up with skill points you collect by, I would assume, killing the aliens. The aliens also, you said you did not see a trailer or a little bit of it?
No, I did see the trailer.
Okay, yeah, they have a very...
They're like terrifying frogs. So they were bouncing, they were leaping. Like Nintendo 64 enemies, they bounce towards you.
Not them rotten tomatoes.
The tomatoes.
Yeah, I don't really... Are they including the Spec Ops mode in this game? Is that still a thing?
I don't believe so.
Oh, God.
I'm not positive. I can't speak on that with confidence.
This is definitely a rental for me, then. I played the single-player campaign, and I'm out skis.
What?
Yeah, I don't care for Call of Duty multiplayer. I hate it.
But it's Call of Duty. Nobody plays it for the campaign. Well,
I
guess
I rent it for the campaign. It's $5. It's action-y enough, and then I'm done. I would never pay another $60 for it again.
It's like a Michael Bay film. Just go to it. Just because you don't have anything better to do.
Essentially. All right, on to the last news story we've got. Lucas.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
What?
Yeah, that's what I want. Well, okay, we'll find.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't have a news story to do.
Well, this is. I mean, it's a quick little blurb, not burb. That's not even a word.
You're a blurb.
I think. Thank you. Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold 29 million copies, which for those of you who don't know, that's a lot.
How many copies?
A game
29
is
million?
it's really good if a game hits 1 million. Like that's awesome.
And it's long since cracked $1 billion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, didn't it make all its money back before it came out? Just in pre-orders, yeah.
Did the same thing Payday 2 did,
yeah.
Which is kind of funny considering one is a super low budget kind of installment.
Or in other words, one is just a game, and then the other one is Grand Theft Auto.
Multimedia extravaganza.
Yeah.
We have posters on the sides of skyscrapers everywhere.
Yeah. Did you know that Alec Baldwin turned down a role in Grand Theft Auto?
Because he didn't want to ruin...
Grand Theft Auto, like 2 or 3.
He didn't want to ruin his image.
Yeah.
Which is like, Alec Baldwin has a positive image?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was the role he was going to play was going to be a cop killer of some sort or whatever, but... Yeah, he just didn't want to tarnish reputation, but whatever. He's doing fine for himself. I see him in those like Capital One commercials and stuff. Like, what's in your wallet? And then a bunch of Vikings come out, and I'm very perplexed. And
or 30 Rock,
or 30 Rock. Yeah, haven't seen much 30 Rock, but
it's after 6 p.m. Why are you wearing a tux? What do I look like, a farmer?
Hardy hard.
Love it. Okay. Other than that, an announcement I'm very excited for, folks. Telltale Games behind such titles as The Walking Dead and just recently The Wolf Among Us, based off of the Fables comic series. Guess what they have announced?
Another season of The Walking Dead.
The next season of Walking Dead, the video game.
It's so great that they come out in episodes.
Episodic installments.
Yeah.
I bought the entire 5 because I just hadn't. I guess I hadn't heard of the game before then. Maybe I was not paying attention well enough. But yep, Walking Dead Season 2 will feature Clementine again as the primary protagonist.
She's going to be by herself
Yeah,
in the beginning, at least.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't played Season 1, do it right now because you can actually get the Game of the Year edition of the first season for $30. That includes all 5 episodes of the main series, the main first season, plus the DLC 400 Days, which is like a standalone episode. I believe it's at least a couple hours long. All really good. And everything, a very well-written game. More than 21 million episodes of The Walking Dead have been sold. I would imagine that includes like individual episodes. I don't know if they're accounting for like, the box sets that they're selling. Kind of a great thing. Did you see the trailer, like the teaser trailer for it?
No, I did not. I saw screenshots though.
The teaser trailer is pretty simple. It's just,
I'm guessing we're from.
Yeah, it's just Clementine. Actually, no, it isn't. It's just Clementine in the forest, and then some zombies like come after her. It's not even that long, really. But yeah, I saw some of the screenshots. Zombies grabbing at Clementine. And I'm really excited, like, to just be able to play as Clementine, being a much more vulnerable protagonist this time around instead of what was his name?
Lee.
Lee
was great. I love Lee. I love like the whole cast.
That
awesome.
Yeah,
I love that game. So
and I hope
much.
that some of them
games,
return.
I guess I love the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it's such a well written series, and it's even, dare I say it, better written than the actual main Walking Dead series. Comic.
Wait, what do you mean the main
comic TV or other?
TV? Well, I haven't read TV.
Both in my opinion.
Not
but
read TV. I haven't read any of the comics. I will be though later in the semester because I actually have to do it for a class, which is pretty sweet.
Woo!
Although I have to also read some Twilight, so it kind of like counter. It kind of like negates it, and I'm kind of like, oh, this is really awesome. Oh, this is not so awesome. But well, at least the Twilight one's a graphic novel, so I at least have like pictures to look at. So I guess that'll be a bit better, maybe. I don't know. I have yet to find out. But for those of you who don't know, the Walking Dead video game, and we're not talking about the one with the Dixon
Survival
brothers.
Instinct.
Yeah, because
no.
that one is crap. We're talking about the episodic one by Telltale Games, where it follows a group of survivors that are completely different from the ones in the TV show and in
you get to meet a few
TV,
of the
for
Glenn.
was
Glenn's there in one episode.
One?
Glenn.
I believe he was the only one.
There's a couple of people like I don't really want to spoil it. One of the girls that is in there for at least 3 episodes, she shows up in the comic book. I don't know how prevalently, but she is there. And then there's obviously like the guy who, or what's it? The old man who lives on the farm. What? Oh right, yeah, with the guy from the farm, the old man from the farm. I'm blanking on his name.
Are you talking about old man from the farm in
season 2?
No. We need to like nail down what medium of, because there are lots of old men in farms in The Walking Dead.
Are there?
They vary depending on what.
The
medium
one
you're
that
talking about.
in the TV show they meet in the second
Herschel.
season. Herschel, yes.
Yeah. I didn't know if you're talking about the old man in the farm in the video game, because I don't remember what his name.
That is Herschel.
No, because the ones in the farm, they were bad guys.
Oh, you mean
I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, there weren't old men. It was just 2 brothers and their mom. But yeah,
older, I guess.
So yep, the Walking Dead season 2 will start this year and continue on into 2014. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like wait until all 5 episodes are out though.
Yeah, I remember when The Walking Dead first came out, because I actually looked at it and I was like, that's not that interesting, because it's not as interactive as other games. Like, you control where they walk, but for the most part,
it's a point-and-click adventure.
Everything's scripted, and then you just kind of have like options of like
you
get
get
like 4 options.
The level of branching in the game is incredible. Yeah, some people will have entirely different storylines. Like, characters will, they always remember what you did, like, to help them or hinder them. And I love that. It's so well written that I will never be able to please everybody. And all I can say, man, after playing season 1 is screw Kenny.
Yeah,
I hate Kenny.
Oh man, that guy. Jeez. Yeah, and the other thing I really loved about was how refined it was, how focused it was, because it wasn't like this massive. So like you talk about like choices, and like everybody has their completely different story with different characters depending on the choices you make. But like other games like Mass Effect are like that. But Mass Effect is like this enormous space opera, and you can kind of get like just confused and just like there's so much going on. But this is like very small, very focused on these few characters, and they're very fleshed out very well. The voice acting is incredible. I love Lee and Clementine the whole time, and then all the characters were just.
Hopefully, they get the same voice actor for Clementine. I want. She's probably Well, you never know with like how old kids get so fast and the time it takes to produce these things. But yeah, super excited. Check it out. You can get the Game of the Year edition for $30. So worth it.
Actually, you can download the first episode for free.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are like, nah, just at least download the first episode.
I forgot, you can also get a copy of the game's musical score and a behind the scenes video if you buy that $30 package. And yeah, also check out The Wolf Among Us. I've watched the first episode of it.
What is that?
Fables is
Fable was in the Xbox.
I'm trying to explain it in 1 minute. Fables is a comic book series. Basically, it's all the Fable characters like the Big Bad Wolf, the Woodsman, Snow White, all that stuff. They all live in
old European.
They all live in New York now, and because they got like kicked out of their home, they got like war was in their homeland. They all had to like escape as refugees.
Is this modern day?
Yes, they live in New York, and they all have like camouflage that like lets them walk around as normal human beings. So like the Big Bad Wolf, who's you play as him. He's just like a grizzled detective, and he's like the cop of the town, of the area that they live in, and it's really interesting to see. I would definitely recommend it. It's probably just as good. It? No, I watched it though, and it seems almost as good as The Walking Dead. All right, we will take another quick break, and we're gonna come right back with the I Am the Night.
In other words, that's a Batman review.
Tonight, we're making some changes. Some big changes.
Lucas, I don't know if you know this, but on my weekends, I am the Batman.
Isn't that what video games are all about? Is so that we can be someone other than ourselves on the weekends?
Essentially. Yes, guys, here is the review for Batman ARKHAM Origins.
Bum, bum, bum.
And we're going to structure this review sort of focusing on story, gameplay, and presentation. So, Lucas, you haven't played this. I have. You're going to perform the role of asking me pestering questions.
Like I did last time. Let's do it.
Start
us off.
So, Batman ARKHAM Origins is not by the same studio that did Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. No, it's the previous 2 games were done by Rocksteady, and this is just done by Warner Brother Games, Montreal, I think. And yeah, it's jumping back in time now. We are in the 2nd year of Batman's time as the Caped Crusader, and it's really interesting to see what they do with it. It's somewhat interesting to see what they do with the storyline, because they're sort of ignoring the whole Batman Year One comic book, which like established. Have you've seen or watched that, right? Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm. So, a while, but yeah,
it's sort of ignoring that and creating its own origin. Like obviously Bruce Wayne's been Batman for a while now, but he's still like a very brash kind of person, sort of filled with a bit of anger. Obviously over his parents, but he's back in Gotham, and the Black Mask has essentially hired 8 assassins to kill the Batman, because he's getting in on his turf and causing trouble, and it spirals out from there. And it's interesting to see, like, there's all your favorites, like Penguin, the Joker makes a very hefty appearance in the game. Deathstroke's there, and Black Mask, obviously, he's a smaller villain, but like he's the biggest small villain, I would say, in Batman's universe. He's
kind of like the brains of the operation. Really?
He's like a really evil mobster, essentially. No, not really any superpowers to my knowledge. And yeah, and it's Christmas night in Gotham City. And
so what's like the newest thing? What's like the big thing that separates this one from the last ones that should really make people pick it up?
Story-wise?
No, just like the game in general, story, gameplay.
Well, anything. That's what I'm experiencing with this game, is a sense of sameness. You see it all the time in like third installments of series.
Yeah.
The first one establishes a great like gimmick or hook, and the second one fleshes it out to make it a masterpiece. And Arkham City was a really good game. Arkham Origins, however, in many aspects is kind of a, I don't want to say throwaway installment, but after
kind of just like a big update, really, kind of like a big expansion pack of sorts. Because I know what you're talking about. Because it really felt like that, like Assassin's Creed. Like the first, like you said, the first one's really cool. It sets itself apart from other games, and people are like, "Wow, this is a really cool concept." And then the second one, they really capitalize on it because they have that foundation of what kind of a game they want to make.
Absolutely.
And they have all this feedback from all these people who bought the game. And then the second one's amazing. And then the third one
always goes wrong.
Yeah, and then like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood everywhere. Just felt like a big expansion. And then Revelations, I got 5 minutes into it and quit.
Yeah. That's sort of how I feel with, like, the story isn't really gripping me as much. Like, the villains that they toss at you, like, they're D-list villains. You have Deathstroke is like the coolest among them. Guess how long he's in this game for?
Oh, he's a short villain?
A boss fight.
Oh, no.
And I mean, they might, like, maybe they'll throw more in with DLC.
The game?
Yeah, I basically.
Okay, so there's no like possibility of him coming in later in the game.
Well, he's tied up and done for, and it's the story eventually devolves into Joker makes his appearance, and he's brand new. He's actually voiced by an interesting thing to note for the game is that it's almost an entirely new voice cast, because Kevin Conroy didn't come back for Batman. Mark Hamill has basically, how should I say this? He's wiped off the makeup for the Joker. He at least for the game series. I don't know what his intentions are for like the animated stuff. And they both do, thank God, an admirable job. The new voice actor for Batman sort of captures the angry sense of how young and new he is at this, while still sort of sounding like Kevin Conroy. I really didn't notice too huge of a difference. But then again, like, Batman isn't the deepest character. He's just, I am the Knight.
Yeah, he's just
tell me where he is.
Kicks butt all over Gotham
and
brings evildoers to their knees.
Yeah, and the Joker actually, like, that could have been the worst ever, because Mark Hamill is a god among voice actors for his role as the Joker. He blew everyone away with how he, that cackle, that iconic cackle of his. And Troy Baker, who you may know as the voice of was it Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite,
right.
And he was also Joel in The Last of Us.
Is he the same guy who literally has done like the protagonist for like 3/4 of the games in the last 5 years?
Nope, that is I know you're thinking of Nathan Drake with that's oh,
it's
okay.
that one guy.
It's not that guy though, and I'm shocked that I've suddenly forgotten his name, because
as soon as you figure it out,
Nolan North. I was like in. But yeah, Troy Baker does a pretty good job. He gives a younger timbre to the Joker, and manages to capture essentially the same spirit of the Joker, that sadistic kind of glint in his eye. And it is interesting to see like how the two meet in this version of the story, and what happens between them. Other than that, I see no compelling reason to really shell out $60 for this game. Talking about gameplay, this is where my big beef comes in, because the game, you're now in Gotham City. You're not in Arkham anymore. You're in the city proper.
Yeah.
And the city itself is probably at least twice as large as Arkham City, at least. But the downside to that is you played Arkham City, correct?
Yeah. I didn't beat it, but I played enough to
be
relatively familiar.
Do you remember how in that game that each building, each street was like really dense? Everything like had a little bit of character going around.
Right.
No place was like super similar. Including the indoor environments too, but like, the outdoor environments.
So just like a lot of backtracking, a lot of repetitiveness.
No, like the city itself feels very lifeless. In the story they lead off with the excuse that like it's Christmas Eve night, and the people of Gotham have basically been instructed by the cops to stay indoors because it's a giant blizzard outside. And that's how they get by the fact that there's like nobody walking on the street besides criminals.
Okay,
pulling the same stuff that Arkham City did, but constituting with, because well, it's a giant prison. You're not going to see regular people, and that makes the city feel very lifeless, very dead, and not like less than half of the buildings are really interesting. You'll start flying in the same fashion, gliding through the air, and plenty of the buildings won't have like anything to grab on, so you'll have to like run around much more often. If you land on top of a building, half the time, like especially if it's inhabited by enemies, it'll just be sort of a lifeless roof. There's really nothing going on up there. And they've got a few new additions to how you traverse the area. They've added in not quick saves.
Save time?
No. Like, you can travel points, like quick travel, fast travel.
Yeah,
fast travel. And they still have the Enigma, Riddler challenges, but all of them feel much less labyrinthian than they did in Arkham City. There were so many like crazy dense puzzles in Arkham City that I was like, no, I just cannot possibly take this on. And you get the same sort of deal in Arkham Origins, but they are all pretty cheap puzzles. Like someone just tacked them on there. And the same goes for all the other side missions, really. You have Anarchy, the Penguin, the Black Mask, and the Mad Hatter. No, not the Mad Hatter. Just Enigma stuff, or Riddler. And essentially all those side missions boil down to go to location X, find this rectangle that stands in for like this, weapons cache or drug cache, or like the,
bad guy stuff,
bad guy collectible. And that's all it is. And some of them you have to like complete puzzles to get through, but they're all really simple puzzles and they're not challenging. They're just boring. It's another tick on a box.
Are there any new playable characters? Because I know that was one of the big things that was cool in Arkham City, was that you could play as Catwoman, you could play as Nightwing, and wasn't there also Robin
without spoiling
DLC
it, I'll really just kind of say not really.
Oh, so there is, but they're disappointing. Is that what you're trying to say?
There is, but it's so short and it doesn't become a part of the storyline like Catwoman did in Arkham City.
Yeah, because Catwoman was like 10-15% of like the storyline.
Yeah, a sizable portion. And there's also, speaking of like traveling around the city, they also have since you're going so much farther in this game half the time, they've added an ability when you shoot your grapple hook and click onto a roof or whatever. If you rapidly tap X or whatever the equivalent is on Xbox, you speed up and you can just continue flying without having to like stop, walk, and like jump off a building again, which helps with the larger environment. So I'm glad that that's in there. The fighting is where another big beef comes in, because anyone who's played the Arkham games knows that the game had a really tight combat system. It was an innovation. There's a lot of things that these people have taken from that they've innovated, and other games have taken from Batman now because they did it so well, being able to counter and moving between enemy. All that in Arkham Origins feels a lot cheaper, because I'll screw up in a fight because my like triangle or counter button didn't really work properly. The boss fights aren't terribly interesting. It's just how many big guys do I have to fight? I fought Bane, I fought Croc, Killer Croc, and yeah. And all the villains are pretty lame. Like Copperhead's not that great, I feel. the Joker's really the only interesting villain in this, and that's kind of sad that like we have to go back to the Joker again.
What about gadgets? Any new fun toys?
Other than the hook that like lets you speed up, there's really, you still have like the hacker thing. You get like a flash grenade now. You get a thing that like lets you, or no, that was in there. There's nothing, not too much new. Same disruptor, same like rope shooter that lets you tight walk. Same disruptor that like lets you kill an enemy's weapon before they like realize it. Not a terrible lot as far as gadgets. And what was I gonna say? The fighting, the gameplay. Presentation wise, like I said, the city it's as good graphically as any other game, and the voice actors do a decent enough job, but the city feels lifeless, and the side missions feel much more lifeless. I'm not upset that I've played this game, but I'm not like, oh yeah, I would not recommend Batman Arkham Origins past or rental to anyone.
So what grade would you give it?
Let's do can we move on to like a 1 out of, or like a 10 scale?
Okay.
Because I feel like grades, I don't want to think about grades right now. All right, so on
it's more familiar.
On a 1 through 10 scale, 1 meaning that this game is a pile of crap, you should never play it in your life.
And should be buried in the desert.
Buried in the desert. Versus 10, which is
why don't you own it right now?
Yeah, why aren't you out there? I would give this game a 6.5. It's better than average, but it's not Arkham City. It's not innovative. It's not even that solid. It's a solid game, but it's just barely enough to hold my interest. I'm tired at the end of the game, and I don't want to keep playing it. But I mean, it's Batman, and if you like that stuff, go for it.
Yeah. Obviously, there are people who will be more interested in it than others. I mean, someone who is just a huge fan of Batman, I'm sure will obviously love it a lot more. Love that voice.
Where is he?
That's got to be rough on the throat, man.
I don't know, man. All right, guys, this has been Button Mash. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, Button Mash BSU. Tweet us, message us on Facebook, pester us with questions. We will answer them as long as they're FCC friendly.
And go ahead and follow us. We do post regular updates and opinion articles and whatnot, pictures, cool stuff, funny stuff, all kinds of stuff. But it's all video game content, so come to us for all the news and information that you need, because we got it.
And now we wait for Thanksgiving.
That's a while away.
Batman. Making that happen is my personal mission in life.